Dents and rust, stick around, let's get it done. Okay, so you might remember in one of the earlier episodes we pointed out that there's a nice dent in this area over here. This entire panel was filled up with body putty as a result. Literally we only have a dent in that spot there. So we want to try and get that out today without using any fillers in that area. So let's have a closer look at that dent. Okay, any dent has a stressor. Usually, for instance, on the seam line here, you'll have a dent there, and that little dent will pull this whole panel in. In the case of this one, we've got the wheel arch roll that runs down here, and we've got the dent in this area over here. So basically what we need to do is we need to pull that stressor out on that side there, and if we get rid of that stressor, this dent will probably come out completely. I'll draw some lines over this one, and you should see the dent pull out as I push it from the other side. Okay, so hopefully you saw that dent pulling out. It's got a little bit of a roughness to it, but that we're going to take out next with the dolly and a paddle. We should get this panel back into slice again, and we should be able to pull this repair off without using any fillers in this panel. Let's see. Okay, on this one we're just going to use a normal saw bar and a paddle. Okay, we got it out, say about 98%. Panel is back in line again. I think we've got it. That should solve that problem. On to the next. Okay, so behind the scenes I pulled the gutter panel off that runs up to the top of the window frame. We've got a slight situation in the bottom of a window frame with rust, and that rust has affected the gutter plate as well. So I'll have to make a new bottom section on the gutter plate and weld that in, and then on this side we're going to have a look at how I'm going to fix this. What I'm considering doing is, so you've got an inner cap, so you've got the inside of the frame. Let me just try and get better light here. So you've got a inside panel, so the window frame on the inside, and then you've got an outer cap that goes over it. So the two lap and then get spot welded together here. I want to try and keep it that way as well, right into that bottom corner, and see if I can replicate that factory look. If I don't, it's not a train smash, it's all hidden behind the gutter plate, which is a permanent fixture on the car. So I'm going to clean that up and use the body saw to open up that hole and get rid of all the rust that we've got there. And I believe there's some body filler that's lying in there as well. You can see there somewhere in there there's a chunk of body filler lying there. So I'm going to try and get into that and then make up a new patch plate here before going on to making the repairs to the gutter plate. Okay, so what was initially thought to be a rather quick fix is not such a quick fix. There is a double panel on the inside that I'm going to have to weld up against the outer sheet just for structural strength. Then do a new patch panel that fits in here, and after that only can I do the gutter on it. Okay, so we've got that repair done. So the inner panel inside here was also rusted away. So basically what I did is I welded the inner structure onto the outer structure, both around the pillar on the inside this side, as well as on this side up here and back onto the pillar. Using the weld on this side, I actually created a lip, well actually a little bit further down. So using the structure there, I actually made a lip that I welded back onto this outer panel, and this outer panel then acts as a strengthener in there. I use a slightly thicker metal than what is on the car, just to give myself a little bit of meat when welding. So I believe that fix that I did there should be strong enough to act as the support again for the inner panels. The window frame is very solid, so I don't believe there's any stress or any weakness caused by the damage. It is a very, very solid panel, so I'm pretty happy with how that's come out. So now the next step will be the gutter plate. So as you can see here, this is the bottom part of the car, or of the gutter, and then this plate runs down much further and then gets welded back up onto the car on the inside. So there's probably about that much of it missing. Fortunately the other side is intact, so I can use that as a guide to make this one, and then obviously we'll take it from there. I don't want to replace this lip on the gutter. It is a folded lip, so I don't want to replace this if I don't need to. So I'm going to try and keep this as intact as possible and just replace the damaged metal on this. I'm not sure if I'm going to get that right, but we are going to give it a crack before I'll look. If that all fails, I'll look at making a new gutter, but I first want to try and just fix up what we have and keep to the original gutter, bearing in mind that where the mudguard comes up, this spot here is where the gutter welds onto the mudguard. So remember that you've got that little tack weld right in that corner as well. So keeping that in mind, I'm going to see if I can build this up with a bit of welding, because there is a gap obviously from where the weld was cut out. So I'll have to weld up a little bit of a step here that sits in line with where the gutter mounts on the inside, and then once I've got that lip and everything in place, I can do the weld on the bottom, the weld at the top of the window frame, and then again do the weld on that corner there as well. So let's get into that. Start, and I've made a new plate that matches closely to what the original was. So we'll do this off camera again, and on the car we'll weld that one into place, and then we'll have to drill a new rivet hole like the rest of them. I believe they are all equally spaced, so we can just transfer that spacing over, and we'll get that one in, and then we should be done to, or good enough to fit the panel back on the car, and then pillar sorted. Okay, so the rain gutter fix is done. So next step will now be to prime both the pillar and the rain gutter with a rust preventer, rivet it back into place. Once it's riveted and tested and we made sure everything is lined up, we'll weld the top and bottom sections like they should be, and we'll do a line of a body seam sealer on the inside of a car, but that will probably do before we do paint, and get this one ready to fit. Okay, so unfortunately the black rust sealer is hiding the end result, but I am happy to call that done. Up and onwards. Okay, so this is then our next repair, probably the last one we'll do in this episode. After that we've got 2 more rust spots that we need to fix, and then the dent on the rear of the car. So here we've got a body line. I'm going to try and keep the top one. The rust doesn't look like it's gone all the way up, so I'm going to see if I can just replace this bottom one. I am a bit worried about what's going on behind here, although I can get into there from inside the wheel well if I need to do any work there. But I first want to see if we can get this resolved from outside before we cut into the wheel well as well on the inside. So let's get cracking on that one. Okay, so unfortunately we weren't that lucky, and that inner panel also had a fair amount of rust damage, but what's good about it is I can get to both from this side. So what I'll be doing is making the inner panel first, welding that up into spot, and then I'll bend a new panel for outside and welding that into place. And basically we're gonna be hitting 2 stones with 1 bird. Okay, so the internal patch is done, and I've made the little external patch which will go in there, and we'll close it up and we should be done. Okay, so our fix has been done. I think it looks good. Little bit of pulling and straightening that I need to do on that edge, but nothing serious. And yeah, so basically we are left with the rust mark in the back, and then we've got the rust mark on the behind the front door that we need to fix, and a dent on the back of the car, and then we just about done with body prep work. Then we can start working towards getting paint on it. So very nearly there. So next episode, probably next week, also Wednesday evening, hopefully around there. But in any case, thanks for watching, and if you haven't already, hit the like button and click the subscribe button. Should be somewhere there in that area, and join us next week. Thanks a lot. Cheers.